what should I do? Because I saw the reports, Dr. Busby, of milk on the West Coast and surface vegetables having 10, 20, 30, 40 times, depending on the isotope, safe levels. Milk as far away as Vermont having higher levels. And it was always, just don't worry, this radiation isn't bad for you. So I went back and looked at old literature, and they said it's very bad, don't drink it, don't eat it. I looked at the plume coming in over Texas, you know, not very high levels according to many experts, but still, my wife's like, do we go to the Southern Hemisphere? If this thing blows up, they'll obviously say it's safe, no big deal. How long do I need to take, you know, Nation iodine, they say is the best or whatever, or do I move my wife and children to Chile or something for a few years? What would you do, Dr. Busby?
Yes, I think if it did blow up, I would be inclined to get out of the path of the fallout. And so that means because the winds blow north and south from the equator, and as we know from the concentrations of radionuclides that came down after the nuclear weapons testing in the 60s, we know that in the southern hemisphere the concentrations are lower than they are in the northern hemisphere. So yes, so if that did happen, and let's hope it doesn't happen, because they are trying to pull the fuel rods out and do something about it, although God knows how they're going to succeed in doing that. But if it does happen, and if it gets bad, well, then I think it's time to head for the hills, Alex, yes.
And, of course, we know from Chernobyl it circled the Earth and came back to England. We know that from the using DU bombardments, the last two Gulf Wars, I know universities picked up the DU in England and in France, and I remember the professors got in trouble there for warning people. I mean, what about folks in Europe?
Well, Europe is much further again, and so you know, if you like to see it in this way, it would be like Japan would be 10, and United States would be like 3, and Europe would probably be 1 on that sort of level, very, very roughly, and it would be a sort of repeat, only worse, of the atmospheric weapons testing of the period 1952 to 1963, which was absolutely terrible. I mean, the large bombs that were being exploded in the atmosphere then rained down enormous quantities of uranium and strontium-90 and cesium and all of this stuff which we're talking about now. And that caused the cancer epidemic, the one that started in the 1980s.
And by the way, for those that don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, those were fractions of what's at this giant nuclear waste dump. I get so many people that send me emails or comments going, Alex, we did all the nuclear testing. Those were huge explosions that blew up whole, islands. Why are you worried about a small explosion? They don't get a cleaner explosion where most of it is destroyed in an atom bomb or a hydrogen bomb. They don't understand how dirty reactors are. Can you explain why this is so dangerous to people?
Well, at the moment, I have to say that I think that the weapons fallout was very serious, and the main
No, I know it's bad, but I'm saying compared to something like this. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, compared to something like this, there's a lot more stuff in if the whole lot of this went up. But the thing is that it won't go up in the same way as the weapons fallout. Weapons fallout went up into the stratosphere and circled the Earth. But this probably won't do that because the explosion won't be a kind of megaton explosion. It will just be a local explosion. So a lot of that stuff will go into the Pacific. It won't go up high enough to be taken right the way across the Pacific, all of it. And I don't think all of it will go up as well. That's the other thing. But I mean, it won't be good. So I don't think that you should say that this, or anyone should say that this is going to be so terribly much more than the weapons fallout. But we really don't know, because it might all go up. And if it does all go up, then who knows? Because there's an awful lot of it. There's more of it than in the weapons fallout anyway, but not a lot more.
Wow.
That was quite bad.
Amazing. I mean, when we open this up during Fukushima, we get tons of calls from Japan. We're only getting a few coming in right now.